Suppose if all the people of economy increase the proportion of income they save, that is MPS of the economy increases, which means if earlier they are saving 50% of their income, now they are saving 60% of it. So the total value of savings in economy will not increase. It will either decrease or remain unchanged. It sounds impossible, right? So this phenomenon is known as paradox of thrift, which is an economic theory given by J.M. Keynes. So according to Keynes, when people start saving money instead of spending it in response to growing concern about recession, they actually make recession worse. Now, what is the recession? So, recession is decline in economic activity which lasts more than few months. That is generally, as a rule of thumb, it is 2 consecutive quarters. So, in recession, price tends to fall. So, what the consumers do, they'll delay their purchases in the hope of getting the better prices in the future. So instead of consuming it now, they try to save that money. Now there, this response make recession actually more worse. So we will see how. Suppose I'm having the consumption function as 40 plus 0.8y. My autonomous investment is 10. So my AD is C plus I. As we know, AD is equal to AS. So we can figure out from here the equilibrium level of income. And by solving it, we are getting y is equal to 250. So MPC is 0.8 here, which means MPS would be 0.2, right? Suppose there is exogenous shift in people's expenditure pattern. Now, what does exogenous mean? It means that something which is that originates from outside the model. So now people suddenly became more thrifty. Thrifty means they being careful in the use of money or resources or time. So here it means that they started saving more. Why they started saving more? Suppose there is information regarding war or some disaster which makes people save more. We are not considering the recession example, we are considering the war or some disaster example. So now, because there is information regarding the war, it makes people save more. So what will happen? The MPS will increase, and increase in NPS means there is a decrease in MPC. Now suppose MPC declines from 0.8 to 0.5 and MPS increased from 0.2 to 0.5. Okay, so what is actually happening? The savings in the economy has increased and consumption in the economy has decreased. When my income is 250, AD is equal to C plus I, as we know. At that time, consumption is 240 and investment is 10, which are making AD as 250. And AS is equal to Y, or if I want to check its component, it would be C plus S, which is again 240 plus 10 equal to 250. And that is the equilibrium level. So when I cancel C from both the sides, S becomes equal to I, that is equal to 10, right? But now what happened? MPC has declined. As a result, my consumption declines and AD also declines. AD is now 175, but AS is still 250, right? Because earlier my consumption is 250 but now it is 175, which means consumption has decreased by 75. The savings in the economy will increase by 75. As a result, what will happen? Now consumption is 165 plus 10, which is the savings from earlier, plus 75, which is the increased saving. So what will happen? There is an excess supply in the economy. We come up this 75 using the usual method. There is one more method to calculate this decline in MPC, which is that our MPC changed from 0.8 to 0.5. So the changes of 0.3. 0.3 of what? Of the 250. Why? Because income is 250. As a result, the answer would be 75. So the consumption would decrease by 75 and the savings would increase by 75, and it will impact our AD and AS, due to which there is excess supply in the economy. So as we know now, there is an excess supply equal to 75. What will happen? undesired inventory will increase because stocks are piling up in warehouses. Producer decide to cut the value of production by 75 in the next round to restore equilibrium in the market. So let's see अभी तक का scenario क्या है. As savings increased, AD decreased, there is excess supply, producer decides to cut the production, right? Now what will happen? It would also mean reduction in factor services, as a result reduction in factor payment, hence reduction in income by 75 in the next round, which means as a result of whole the income will decrease by 75 in the next round. So earlier my income is 250, now it will decrease by 75, which means income is 175. So what happened? Consumption decreased by 75, savings increased by 75, AD decreased by 75, production will decrease by 75, as a result income will decrease by 75. But what will happen now? As income decreases, people reduce consumption proportionately. We know that income has decreased by 75. The change in income would impact both the consumption and saving. So consumption also decreased by 75 into 0.5, that is 37.5, and savings also decreased by the same amount because MPS is also 0.5. Now let's just see the impact on AD and AS. Now I know that my C bar is 40, my MPC is 0.5 into 175, which is my now income, plus 10, which is my autonomous investment. They all are making 137.5, but my AS is 175. And if I want to find it out using C plus S, then also I can find out how, because I know 127.5 is my consumption, right? And savings is 47.5. Why 47.5? Because earlier the saving is 85 and now the savings has reduced by 37.5, so savings are equal to 47.5. As a result, when I will combine both C plus S, they are making 175, which is equal to Y, because AS is always equal to Y. So now what is happening? My AD is 137.5 and AS is 175. So there is difference of 37.5, right? Which means again there is excess supply in the market. So in the next round, producer reduced output by 37.5, that is 75 into 0.5. So in next round also income will decrease, as a result consumption would decrease, again aggregate demand would decrease, and again it will impact the income. So what actually happened is, in the first round the income decreased by 75, in the next round the income decreased by 75 into 0.5. So we can see that it is making a geometric progression here. So if I will find sum to infinity, I will get to know that the answer is 150, which means the total reduction in output turns out to be 150, which means when I will deduct 150 from 250, 100 would be my new equilibrium. And there is one more way to find out, which is AD is equal to AS, and here also we are finding that the new equilibrium would be when Y is equal to 100. So now the economy got the new equilibrium output, and my new equilibrium level of income is 100. And how to find out saving? Saving is income minus consumption. Income is 100. What is consumption? It is C bar, which is 40, plus C2 Y2. What is C2? It is MPC. What is the new MPC? It is 0.5. Income is 100, right? So by solving it, we get to know that savings in the economy is 10, which means people are now saving 10 in aggregate. Whereas under the previous equilibrium, they were saving 10 also. So the total value of savings remain unchanged. So the equilibrium output and AD have declined by 150, but savings remain the same. So this is known as paradox of thrift. So what happens is there is a rise in MPS, which implies fall in MPC, and due to which aggregate demand in the economy fall, which implies there is a rise in inventory level of producers. Now to clear this unwanted increase in inventory, firm plans to reduce the production, which would reduce demand for factor services. Hence, factor income will reduce, which further reduces consumption, income, and as a result, total volume of savings would fall or remain unchanged. So, this is the paradox, as increase in saving would not actually increase the saving in an economy.